This presentation is focused on building a teaching candidate resume formatted in a way which is easy for an employer to quickly review, yet which includes excellent content showcasing the candidate's unique skills and experience. When building or updating your resume, it is important to focus on your unique background and the experience you specifically want to highlight for an employer. Consider what makes you a unique candidate and any experience which directly relates to the position for which you are applying. There are a few general guidelines to consider when building your resume. Your resume must be honest, accurate, and up-to-date. Consider how to present your experience concisely, yet with informative content. Bullet points tend to be especially helpful with this. You will want to use educational terminology. Consider the topics you have discussed during your courses at Xavier and student teaching. Good ones to include might be assessment, classroom management, differentiated instruction, technology, and parent communication, to name a few. The number one thing employers tell us makes them stop reading a resume is any kind of spelling or grammatical error. This is especially true in the field of education, so be sure to have a second set of eyes read over your resume. Because your most in-depth teaching experience is likely student teaching, it is wise to place a lot of focus on this and other classroom experiences. When building or updating your resume, it is helpful to put yourself in the employer's position. Remember that he or she is likely reviewing a large number of resumes and might spend less than a minute quickly glancing over each one, looking for those that stand out most immediately with a quick glance. Due to this, it is important to develop your resume in a way that is easy to scan, yet with relevant content. Bulleted statements tend to be easier to quickly review than paragraphs, so bullets are recommended to make your experience stand out with a quick review. Starting each bullet point with a verb forces you to write about what you did, which tends to catch an employer's attention. It is important to be descriptive when developing your bullets, yet concise. In other words, you'll want to paint a picture while keeping the bullets brief. Consider your accomplishments and the experiences that you are most proud of, as these tend to stand out to the employer as well. When considering the length of your resume, be sure to focus on your content first. Don't sell yourself short just to get your resume down to 1 page. 2-page resumes are very common for education majors, but be sure the most important information is on page 1, things like student teaching, your degree, and licensure. Now that we have addressed an overall strategy for developing a resume, we will look at the key sections of a resume which a teaching candidate will want to include, as well as formatting guidelines. Certainly an important section to any resume is the header, featuring the candidate's contact information. Key information to include in the resume header includes the candidate name, mailing address, phone number, and email address. It is wise to make your name stand out by making it larger than the text throughout the rest of your resume. You might also choose to bold or italicize your name to help it stand out even further. When including your mailing address, it may be appropriate to list a current campus address and a permanent home address as well. Many students ask if a cell phone number is okay to list on their resume, as this is the only phone they have. It is perfectly fine to list your cell phone number on your resume. However, it is important to realize that whatever number you list is the number the employer will call. Once you begin your job search, remember that anytime you get a call from a number you do not recognize, it could be an employer on the other end. So consider how you answer the phone and your environment, and whether it might be more appropriate for the call to go to voicemail. Your outgoing voicemail message is another thing to consider during your job search, as it also provides the employer an impression of you. Finally, your email address is an important component to your resume header as well. Your Xavier email is a great one to use because it has a professional feel to it and includes your name. However, you can certainly use a different email address if you prefer. Once again, however, keep in mind the power of first impressions. There are many fun email addresses and signature lines out there. During your job search is not the time to use these. After your resume header comes your objective. While this is technically an optional section on your resume, I tend to encourage education majors to include it as it is a good location to note your strengths and any extracurricular interests. Keeping your objective short and sweet is ideal, and I often encourage students to use the following formula. Seeking a fill-in-the-blank position, using my fill-in-the-blank some skills, strengths, or experiences you feel make you a good candidate for the position. If you have interest in coaching or advising, you may choose to add a second statement communicating this as well. Next comes your education section. Within this section, you will want to feature the degree you are currently pursuing first, and any degrees you have already earned after that. In this example, you will see that the candidate has already earned his master's and bachelor's and listed them in backwards chronological order. I suggest featuring your degree first and to bold it so as to draw the employer's attention to it. Listing your graduation date immediately next to your degree makes it easy for the employer to quickly see when you will complete it. If you are within a semester of completing your degree, you can simply list the month and year. If there is some question as to when you will finish, listing expected before the month and year gives you a little wiggle room. Under the degree is a good place to list any minors or concentrations. Next, you would list the school you attended, city, and state. Below Xavier University, you will see that there are some bullets listed, which are all optional and unique to the candidate. For example, you may be especially proud of your GPA and may wish to list it here. If so, just be sure to note that it is on a 4.0 scale. Academic honors and study abroad are also commonly listed here. After your education section, you will want to draw special attention to your licensure by creating a licensure section. It is important to list the name of your license, when you will receive it, and to note if you are highly qualified in any areas. Next, we move to the experience section of your resume. Because education majors have many built-in experiences throughout their coursework, sometimes it is a bit challenging to determine what to feature here. Remember that titling this section Experience allows you to feature paid or unpaid experiences, jobs, internships, volunteer work, campus involvement, etc. Additionally, you do not have to list everything on your resume. This does not have to be a laundry list of every job you have ever had. Instead, I would suggest considering which of your past experiences, paid or unpaid, most closely connect with your goal, in this case, the teaching job for which you are applying. Those experiences are the ones I would suggest clustering into an education experience or teaching experience section. Any unrelated experiences can go in a separate other experiences section. Remember that the other experiences can still add value to your resume. For example, showing longevity in employment, what you did while you were a student, a military or corporate background, etc. However, from the employer's standpoint, he or she will want to see the skills and experiences you specifically bring to the teaching position, and clustering them together can help you get noticed more quickly. Within your experience section, there are 4 key things the employer will want to know about each experience before you get to the bullet points. Your role, this is your title, student teacher, volunteer, camp counselor, etc. The time frame in which you were there, this can be month year to month year, or something like spring 2013 if more appropriate. The organization you worked for, your employer, school name or campus organization, and location, city and state. After setting up each experience, you will want to develop a list of bullet points which showcase what you did within that experience. Many students want to try to sum up their experiences as quickly and briefly as possible. However, this is your opportunity to set yourself apart from other candidates. A time to tell the employer about all of the great things you did and the skills you developed. Remember that this is their first glimpse into your background, and you can't assume they know anything about what you did. When beginning to develop your bullet points, consider your accomplishments from that experience, the things you are most proud of, the unique things you never expected to do, and anything that showcases your abilities with those key concepts important in the field of education: classroom management, assessment, differentiated instruction, etc. When building your bullets, be sure to start with a verb, offer some detail, yet try to be somewhat concise as well. Remember that this is your opportunity to share not just what you did, but how you did it, giving the employer a clearer picture of what you are capable of. Finally, once you have your bullets developed for a specific position, be sure to rank them, with the most important or most relevant bullet points at the top of your list. In this way, should the employer quickly skim over your resume and only review the first 2 or 3 bullets before moving on, he or she will see your best stuff even with a quick review. Developing your bullet points is truly the most challenging part of your resume. However, it is, in many ways, the most important part of your resume as well. Remember that anyone who has completed student teaching can sum up their experience with a bullet that says, managed a classroom of X number of students for X number of weeks, or developed lesson plans for 8th grade science class. These statements, however, do not answer the how question and do not set you apart from other candidates. Consider what makes your experience unique. This tends to draw an employer's attention. After your experience section, there are many optional sections which may be included on your resume. You may consider a section devoted to honors, activities, professional development or affiliations, service, and more. This is very unique to the candidate. Certainly consider featuring anything that is related to your career goals and anything that is especially important to you, but remember that you do not have to include everything. Finally, it is no longer necessary to add a statement to the end of your resume which says, "References available upon request." Instead, it is a good idea to start asking individuals to be a reference for you and creating a separate reference sheet. To do this, simply copy and paste your resume header onto a new sheet, create a references heading, and list your 3 to 5 references below. You will want to include a name, title, organization name, address, email, and phone number for each. Remember that it is very important to ask someone to be your reference before listing them and to keep them updated on your job search progress. It is also smart to provide each of your references a copy of your most up-to-date resume, as this can be helpful when they take a reference check call. I hope this video is helpful to you as you develop or update your education resume, but please remember that we in the Career Development Office are here to help. You may call to schedule an appointment or visit during walk-in hours. Additionally, we realize a busy student-teacher schedule may sometimes make it challenging to make it to campus by 5 o'clock. If this is the case for you, please know you can request an evening appointment when scheduling. The Career Development Office is located in the Connerton Learning Commons, room 530. Typical office hours are 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Good luck to you in your job search.